Okay.
I heard from Hillary. Hillary teaches until 5 p.m. But she is coming here right after her class and anticipates being here before 5:30. She also said that if she can, she will try to listen on her way. I don't know if she'll do that. That's easier to say than to do when you're traveling.
I'll use our favorite planner.
Are you sure about
Well, Kirby left with the barbecue, so yeah. We're good.
That was a while ago.
I know, so yes.
that? I don't think. It's high praise. I'm in good company.
Do you cook anything on the season?
Yeah, I do. Jambalaya.
Oh.
Oh, I would cook a lot. That's one of my hobbies.
Oh my gosh.
And why are
We're
we
just barely learning this.
It is coming up on dinner time.
Yeah.
Good thing we have you. Are we in a position where we can start?
I believe so. Matt, you're still good to end the Zoom and log out of here
Yep.
when I have to leave a little bit early. Yes, we're good.
Okay, well, we can start recording. Let me formally welcome you all here. Thank you for pulling together our agenda, getting that out. As you'll notice on the agenda that we have some follow-up agenda items that we wanted to cover in the first half of our meeting today and reserve at a minimum the last 60 minutes for our annual retreat items, which are the things that we usually do at the beginning of the year in terms of committee member assignments and thinking through our priorities of our calendar. Can I ask if there is anyone like you, Michaela, that will not be able to be with us the whole time?
I'm gonna leave a little bit before 7. I have another function at 7.
Okay, 6:40-ish.
Quarter to.
Okay.
I'll go back to the recording.
That's lovely. Thank you. And Matt, you're sticking with us this time around? Did you arrive early in the morning?
No, actually, I arrived a little earlier or later today because I'm staying late.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, as I was coming here today, I realized how much I missed you. Not only are we meeting later in the month, but I was on Zoom the last time. And it made RSC full thing.
Me either. I second that.
So it just makes me really,
Touching you include the full fix?
that helps.
If we blow you kiss.
I just am so happy that we get to work. It's just lovely to be able to spend time together doing meaningful things. If you have our agenda, this is the agenda that Michaela sent out. We'll just walk through this, and Michaela, you sent it out last, what day? 5 days ago. If we are able to get through our first 4 items before 6 o'clock, that would be ideal. But I will cut us off and we'll move to retreat by 6 if we do not. It is the beginning of the year, and so we wanted to start with thinking about our budget and wondering if the masters of the budget know what our budget will be.
No, probably could be the same.
Do you remember what it was last year?
Don't do the budget.
Did we have the
Less than
two
$200.
awards? Didn't we have a couple $100 for awards?
For
I
the,
think it's about $200. Spent the money mostly on the awards this year.
Yeah.
we had the 2 awards, and then also I think we did a $50 gift card for the,
That's correct.
oh wait, no, last year we didn't do the art contest, but that's what we've done in previous years.
Yeah.
The past few years that we have done it, we did about like $50. Which again, I'm not sure, since we're partnering with the library, I'm jumping ahead with Rick, that may change where the money might come out of the library's budget.
City council has a little bit of contingency if it's something up to $50. Okay, we could. I mean, it's a reasonable expense. It's not really officially budget for. I could find.
You can find money. I have in my head 250. Is that too high? Does that sound right? Or is it 200? 200. Okay.
I will follow up on that.
Um,
If it's, that, you know, like Debbie says, do contingency too, if there's a reason in case. Find the money we did last year with the water barrel program. Which
Oh,
was
yeah. That was a smashing success.
Yeah, which wasn't a direct NRC budget item, but we found the money for that program, through the mayor's office or the city manager's office, I should say.
We have 25,000 contingency. I don't think we spend that every year. I think
Okay.
we spend some, but not all.
Or things come up, or if there's an item that you feel very strongly about, that we shouldn't fund it, that's always a possible discussion.
If, for example, we decided we wanted to build a new underground water
That one we have to say no.
tank, what kind of need to do that?
Yeah, the discussion is there, it could be very short. Probably.
Above $250? No. Here's the deal. If it's a reasonable thing, something that you think we should take to the full council, I think that's always on the option. That's
Okay.
always on the table.
We appreciate that. Matt, I think you're the one that paid for the awards last time. Do you remember the cost? It seemed like it was like $100 and something.
Yeah, about $75.
Does anyone have something on the top of their head that they know that they want to spend budget money this year?
I know in the past Darren brought up the potential to have a bike ballet at Summerfest. I don't know how much that costs or if we want to look into that, but I know that that has been a previous thought that has
It costs some money.
It's not much, actually. Yeah, because it's the Provo Bike Collective who does it, and it's a nonprofit. They do it.
Do you really do it for us?
They do it for cost.
Really?
They have a whole system that they can go. Last I looked, I could check my email, but it was like $300.
It's good to know. I mean, I may still be in Summerfest committee, which would be nice for me to bring that up.
Yeah.
I actually think,
That sounds fun, actually.
I think we should do it if we can do it
Let's see if I can.
for that amount of money. I anticipate it will fail. But it will be better next year. If
people know about
if people know about it.
Yeah, this year.
I mean, it doesn't have to fail. We can advertise well.
Right.
But I anticipate that it just takes a lot for people to make.
So
that
people
first
join
move.
in, or how does that work? Like you bring your bike and do,
You bring the
Yeah.
bike and then park it.
Give you a ticket, so you don't have to. So yeah, it's
Because we don't have enough.
oh, I thought you said ballet.
valet.
Ballet, I think you said ballet. I had the visions of a bike ballet.
That's
I thought that would be interesting.
That's 2024.
Well, no, I had visions of people doing things that interacting.
Well, I mean, I know that people get used to their habits and how they engage in the Summerfest. I know that we've done bikes a few years in a row, and we always feel so smug as we're biking and get the nearest parking right in the park.
Because if you go at busy times, it's hard.
Yeah, because there's parking everywhere in the park, in the neighborhoods, and you have to park really far away, and so so that really prime parking.
Actually, I do like that. I do like, our theme is for Sunrise, be the one. And it's kind of a military veteran theme, but be the one can be the one who bikes, be the one who conserves. I mean, be the one can mean a lot of things.
I think we've been talking about this long enough. We should just try it.
So I found the quote, I've got all the information, they can do it for 40 to 50 bikes for 12 hours a day. They staff it, it is $400 a day, so it's more than I thought. Yeah, so it's more than I thought, sorry about that.
Would you still send that to me though?
It
Because,
is less than one might imagine, perhaps.
we get sponsors a lot for,
Yes, I mean, my
Yeah.
loss,
so some may have that kind of bend that they would like that.
And we could get all the bike shops in town to sponsor one day.
Well, $400 a lot, but if
A lot,
you do 40, but I don't even care if it doesn't get fully sponsored. If we could get half of that, that would be great. Yeah, send that to me so I can bring that up to my email.
Yeah. The advantage of having them do that is that we don't have to do it. We don't have to like it.
We could pilot it for just one of the days, maybe the most popular day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could just do one day, and we wouldn't have to do it every
That would
day.
be Saturday
Yeah.
then.
It could be a Saturday, right? You could try it on a Saturday as a pilot program and see how popular it is. And then it's just $450. Yeah,
We are getting a better share with the carnival, but they give us a percentage, so it's better than the past. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, I like it.
Okay.
Send it to me.
Okay. I'd like to save our discussion of water conservation strategy for Hillary, because I know that that's something that she feels strongly about.
I just thought of one other potential budget item. If I recall, you met with the beautification committee or something this year, and we were potentially going to do signs, right? So
That is-
it's on.
Thank you for-
Once again, I think that's an appropriate. use of- Yeah, we could probably get that paid for something.
Well, if they're the lawn signs, they're not super expensive.
You haven't been since you went, right, to beautification. I was wondering if they've. Who can we follow up with on that? You should just reach out to the chair of that.
Sean or William.
Reed successor, what's his name?
What about the Xeriscape Award? We're gonna give a,
Yeah.
It's gonna
award
be
on
part of
that.
this.
Oh, that's.
And how many went out last year? Was it just to that one business? I saw one, the Juice and Java. Were there
There
others?
were two or three.
Were they residences?
No, they were businesses,
Okay.
and they were. And they were beautification awards for Xeriscape. But the commission, as you might recall, would prefer for us to make those judgments. If we can. But what they had agreed to do is as they drive around, which they do at least quarterly, and they fill out a form. They were going to, one of the tabs in that form was going to be referred to the NRS. And then we would need to visit that location. I think once we get in the. But I think, according to the plan we agreed on, it has to start with. So I'll follow up with them. Thanks. I am also wondering if we have a date for our 14th city council.
When we did last year.
It was in late April.
March or April.
Probably about the same
It
time.
was late April. honestly.
You don't want to have to do it then.
The
Other than
island.
that,
Plan on spring.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also did the awards simultaneous.
I think is the council's preference, right?
That's been preference.
So that we have one agenda item. Okay, we'll talk awards here as well. Just a couple of other just upcoming things. Sarah, you had things in the first quarter, or are those second quarter?
No, well, April, second quarter.
Hey, Hillary.
I was listening.
with really cute earrings, always.
Thank you.
That is fun.
Is that a
Three-headed-
three-headed goose?
It is.
What is the?
Really neat. It's
It's
time.
3 times as scary.
3 times as vicious.
Would you like to talk about any of those in the first part of our meeting, or save them for the whole? annual calendar?
Wait till.
Okay. You asked us to think about WattSmart communities. So. That's you, wasn't it?
Possibly, yeah, at some point. I think maybe I said that a few months ago and then I forgot about it.
Is there anything you'd like to follow up on?
I think it was just a general question. I know that the city of Orem coordinated with on the, was a WattSmart community. So I just, what was the strategic action plan on that? And is that something that would make sense for our committee to help support some of the
I
goals that were
shared
established?
a copy of that with one of you. When was it? Nothing.
Let me look it up. WattSmart Communities is Rocky Mountain Power.
Yes.
Mhm.
They partnered with us, started about a year and a half ago. We have a strategic sort of plan of actionable items, mostly focused on energy conservation, energy programs, energy education. Each action item has an assigned department liaison on that. Those departments are responsible for implementation. We've been stretched thin staffing wise last year. And the leader of that effort has moved on to Hawaii.
Oh,
All right.
Who's that?
That was Nate
Nate
Prescott.
Prescott.
that's just for man.
So it's sort of in limbo. We have hired an intern for the planning division, and one of the assignments will be to start chipping away at least at the planning division responsibilities or development service responsibilities. With more earnest. And then if we can successfully move on those, maybe we'll continue to adopt some other departments.
The last I
Happy to
have,
share the plan.
Matt, is, and I do have this in my email, is the draft energy plan from October 21st.
It's the same. It should be about the same.
And that hasn't changed.
Maybe a more final version of all the.
If I send this to you, can you send this out to everybody?
In my mind, it should have a
The
a
final.
light bulb, like. Get efficient light bulbs, I don't know.
I
It's like-
see, when I was in the interim position, I assigned some of it to up and chipping away at it, so for things to go on social media or a web page for the city. So I can send you some of those things. Thank you.
Yeah.
I learned how to do Illustrator on the fly. Using that.
Good job.
So,
Good job.
yeah, I can send you kind of the things we started on, but always pass them on to me.
So, since I got this one, I'm just going to send it to everybody.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, so if you have the
Well, you
updates,
said that was October 17th.
I have October 22nd, 2020. Is the last document I have.
The final document, I believe, is actually April.
In my mind, you need to write a plan for the light bulbs. Maybe?
LED, some sort of,
I propose that we take a look at this. We'll put this on an agenda as an agenda item in one of our future meetings to review this and see. Provide feedback, and if you can also just let us know if there's anything that's needed. The other follow-up agenda item we had was of the water conservation strategy that we put together. And Darren, did you let that conversation last time? started.
Yeah.
And no, we didn't get too far, and then wanted to see
About halfway through.
if we wanted to take some additional time to go through the second half. Is that the rest of that?
I could. I had forgotten about this and so did not review it well. I'm sorry. But we could certainly go through it. It's a straightforward thing.
We've got a little bit of time to do that. We need to project it up here, right? Yeah. If you want. I just want to be clear about what our end goal is. To me, the end goal is for us to decide if we have specific feedback that we'd like to have something to say. Does that sound right? And can you remind me, did we add anything to that list last time, or were we still just trying to verify?
I think last time we were learning, is what I would say. Because about the first half of this, at least, is all sort of data provided by the city about how it's going with respect to water consumption. And the general answer is pretty well, yeah. And we were pleased, though I think it was Paul that noted the really important fact that even though consumption has declined quite a bit per capita in the city, it's still above almost any other state in the country. So even with our decline, there's still room for further improvement. So I think that was kind of, as I remember, that would be my bottom line from last time, is that we're moving in the right direction, but there's still room to go. Is that fair from those who are here? Yeah.
I'm thinking of all this snowfall we've got, all this rain.
Right.
I'm wondering how we could message it, because people are gonna think, oh,
Exactly.
we had a really,
This is my fear. This is precisely what I've been thinking about for the last couple of weeks. Is how do you message? We're still in a drought when we don't seem to be in a drought. Yeah.
do we say, we water twice a week
Yeah.
again? I don't know, I think it's gonna be harder to sell,
There'll be a little, yes. Yeah.
which is good. We've been praying for rain and snow, so it's good. It's just, our messages get out a little more.
I would be curious to find out with the new money for that, like Central Utah Water Conservancy District, the Jordan, or I mean, I think all the state water districts have money for the programs to flip your strip and like xeriscaping a segment of your yard. I'm curious to like how many, like where do people live who are taking advantage of that program, and how are they getting their messaging? How can we get more Orem residents to take part in that program? Because there's, that has been growing, and it's exciting to see the example. Local state yards that are out there. So yeah, I'm just wondering, like, where's most of the money going?
What they tell us.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I would think that they would have. I mean, that would be. No, not
No, no,
addresses,
not-
but like in a
It's a
municipality,
zip code.
like.
Zip code, yeah.
They
Yeah,
can use it.
yeah.
Definitely know somebody who does that thing.
That's right.
My students.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we ever had anyone from the Central Utah District come in?
Casey Shaw's come to our meetings.
What did Casey do for you?
We were talking, that's when we were talking about utility stuff, and it was part of the advisory, public works advisory.
potentially.
It certainly has the, he's a warm residency. It's a shot.
Oh, shop.
Shots. I don't know if he's still on. Whatever, he works for Central Utah, he's a water engineer. Fabulous man.
Casey Shaw. I think that could be a cool thing. Just off the top of my head, Darren, it seems like there are 4 levers to pull. The 4 that I'm thinking of are education, water rates, your favorite, I think, ordinances. So water rates and ordinances are going to be some concerns.
Did you guys notice we went down 15%? Anyone notice that? The water rates. We bonded for our big projects, and so it lowered.
Yeah.
Overall, yeah, 15% across all the years.
Yeah, I mean, that is
I
good.
think
in
we
some
talked
ways.
about that, right? Yeah, and we that's a mixed message
It's a
for
mixed
us.
Yeah. I just say, I don't get the calls as much as I used to.
Yeah, right.
Grandma Frisbee.
That's a mixed
can we have
message
that?
for us, yes, but we've discussed that. Yeah.
And then the 4th lever is measurement. And that's the one I'm most excited about, with the smart levers.
Oh, yeah.
Because I really do believe, I think that the evidence is consistent with this, that once people actually download an app on their phone that allows them to see how much water they're using, they will use it.
Did you listen to last city council meeting?
No.
No,
The
I
lady-
wanted to.
The lady, there was a lady there who made it sound like these AMI meters are a conspiracy. Reports.
Oh,
Their
no.
conspiracy to sneak
Spy
in.
on you.
Just, you know, whatever it's gonna
Oh.
oh, wow.
be. And I said, and the Reed and
Well,
Chris
somehow there
said-
was a difference between remotely turning off their water versus us sending a person down there to turn off their water. Which these meters actually don't have the ability to remotely turn off their water, but they're convinced they did.
And so I said something like, that's a crazy idea. That's what I said.
This was in public comment.
Yeah. No, it was when we were talking about
It was
the
in there.
presentation from Public Works about it. And I said, well, look, I've had it and my house has had it. I can see if I have whatever. She was going about this. And I said, that's just a crazy idea. Well, she didn't like that. You overheard of me because you called her crazy. And I thought, nope, not going there. You are cray. And it literally was, you should listen to it. It's almost entertaining.
It was entertaining. I'll say it.
But we're almost deployed. Did they say how many? I think we're almost done. with it.
They're not live, right?
It was,
They're not live.
what, 80%?
Yeah,
We're getting close,
I got mine.
No, mine was live.
but you don't have the.
No.
No, but I've got.
But you saw it.
Switched
Yeah.
out the thing. I've got the new
Yeah.
cover.
Yeah.
So.
Matt, do we know? Timeline?
Just what you got last time from.
The water conservation plan says by the end of 2022.
Oh, it's done.
Well, I think we're closer than 80. They made it sound like.
We're really close.
But just so you know, there will be some pushback that this is a conspiracy to control us on something,
Okay.
even though they're not up together.
That is actually one battle I'm all about.
Yeah.
And so, given that the prerogative of city council is going to be over rates and ordinances, I'm wondering if we can take on education measurements as two of things that we can provide support.
Let me add a 5th one to that,
Yeah.
because that's in the report quite a bit, which is city conservation practices.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do get the comment, how come the parks are coming
Right.
watering the sidewalk?
Well, this year they will be upgrading the parks.
The smart sprinkler.
Just smart spring. Control over weather events and other things like that.
That'll be interesting data then, like before smart. Smart.
What's the implication for us so that,
Of that 5th one. I don't know, this feeds into something I've wondered about off and on, which is that once upon a time, Matt, we talked about a possible you know, informal green team inside of the city. Did that? Okay. Because it would be lovely if there were a way to, as I listen to other cities, I will say, there are green teams and there is some communication between the green team and the committee like ours. So if I would be interested in reviving that possibility if it were a possibility.
Possibility.
It might depend on the leadership in the city.
No, it's just, I think the way we envisioned it was a quarterly meeting where we report on the activities we have, where it doesn't have to be an live meeting, just. And that we produce maybe an annual report of what we're actually working on, what's achieved in the city and that. And possibly some discussions on, are there any low-hanging fruits that we can implement citywide? So that's sort of where we're at. It's just a matter of scheduling.
Yeah. I mean, to some extent, you know, this report does that a little bit, right? Because, and it probably is being done in other departments in the city as well. But it would be nice to pull people together and get that. Because I think actually could help with messaging, as you just pointed out. So that's how I would see the whole thing coming to play.
I think, Matt, I don't know if the reason it didn't happen was inertia or opposition, but I think we can start out really small.
Probably
Yeah,
more power.
it's just another thing for all of us to absorb.
That's just adding on that.
So
Who would be the right
I'm
person?
the right person.
Yeah, are you the right person in the city?
Let's take it to the next step. Yes.
Okay.
So it's just finding those people in the city who are already really excited.
Well,
and would like to-
no, it'll be a contact department heads for them to meet. That's like, this won't be a volunteer type thing.
We had, I thought, a really productive discussion with the new city offices design team. And this would be the kind of thing where we can follow up on that conversation. Right?
Yes.
Because I think we need to follow.
Yeah.
But using the green tech, probably.
And the city may be hiring, I think we are PR person-ish. I don't know exactly if it's a firm. Or you haven't seen it because it would be someone that probably we could use the message for us. Quite a regular basis if we have content.
So this is a change, then I take it. So Pete, you've traditionally done this in-house, and
I think it would be more like replacing Steven a little bit, who's kind of in the communication. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly
I'm
what
also-
we're thinking.
Are they aware of Stephen's resignation?
Oh, yeah, Steven resigned after city council. left.
So right now, it's sitting there, this is Brown.
And then there is an interim manager position out there.
I did see that.
That has probably a break test, and we'll ask him to have a break test. Interested, so
Is Brandon one of those?
he is with us. And I mean, personally, he's doing a great job, so. It's whether we add someone, help him, keep him there and replace someone. His job, I don't know exactly how it will go. It hasn't been discussed on city council, it's just, do you know what's been announced to the councils, do you know some good people who you could encourage to apply for it? And that's what we did, and that's. I think the job closes today, and we'll be having discussions. With Stephen, no, he was kind of the communications person for the city, and Pete was more of the like websites and
right.
all of the, the
media.
social media, where Stephen was more of the higher, like the,
Okay.
the taking Harold or whatever, whatever.
Sure.
I'm not exactly clear.
Or maybe the strategy.
Yeah. So there was talk of hiring a PR person or a firm, and I don't know what that looks like yet,
Okay.
because we haven't. Do you know more?
Well, we would certainly be, yeah, that's one thing that we're capable of.
Well, and I think we
helping
welcome,
craft messages.
yeah, and I don't know about you, but I actually like getting little. Oh, did you know? Did you? I'm like,
Yeah, it's worked out well, I think.
we need to highlight the successes and educate along the way, so. And there's been some really cute stuff we've done. Yeah, I really.
Yeah,
like
we, I honestly think that this makes a difference. I mean, I was at my neighbors in the context of a lot of other community discussions that were going on this fall, and they were talking about how they were more careful with their water, in part because of the messaging that's seen. So
I know I was.
I think it matters. Yeah, I think this helps. So.
Well, and I think that the state level as well.
Oh, yeah, and the Great Salt Lake
So,
discussions.
you know, a lot of their messaging, we can just kind of support what the state is already doing. They're putting a lot of money into it. And so they recognize that statewide, we're gonna have that same issue of like, oh, we've had a great water year. But they
Oh, we're not
understand,
on the draw, yeah.
yeah, they understand that, you know,
We need a visualization of that. Somebody needs to produce a visualization of how bad the drough's been over the last 10 years or whatever, and
Oh, we
have
did
this
make a
just-
blip.
You'd make a blip, yeah, exactly. We need a visualization of that.
Sure, someone's doing it.
Yeah, somebody must have a good visualization. We need to finish our winter first before we do that, I'm sure.
No, we've had 4 inches in our house.
Because most of the visualizations I see are just are how amazing the winter has been, right? That's a wonderful, it's a very heartwarming visualization. I get them like almost every day in my feed somehow or another, but we need a different message as well.
It helped, but
It helps, but yes. Yes.
keep going.
I am wondering, I'm trying to think about privacy considerations here, but I'm wondering if it's possible for us to learn who has taken advantage of some of these programs, like for the water bill or barrel program, or some of these other things, for us to interview them to see.
And feature them, that's a nice thing.
So if you interview them and feature them, but interview them to understand, why did you choose to do this? And then what does it do for you?
My students, my class are interviewing zero students this semester.
In Orem,
That is
how did
like,
they find them?
they are
Around?
driving around and seeing yards and
Knocking on the door?
zero-scapes, knocking on the door.
And then are they signing the leases so we can?
Yeah, it's research. So yeah, they have, so it'll be like covered by IRB, so I can't reveal their, but we can see exactly these things.
Could we get them to come and present to us?
And to present to city council. Yeah. I can show you like the approved questionnaire. It's not on rainbows. I didn't include that in it. It's more just why have you zero escaped? What was like motivating factor? What helped you? What hindered you?
I do have a question. Are some of the subjects, have they zero escaped beyond the percent code? 'Cause we don't want to out them if they're, you know, in violation of current code.
No, and I can't share our addresses.
Right.
Okay.
And if we should go further, that's the market. I'm really.
Right, that's what another thing that I was wondering, if there might be.
I know there was some
enough of an
talk about
appetite.
heat off a rock. I don't know. That was, you have to be careful of that.
Right.
That'd be interesting to do in the summer too. Just have,
Do too much, it's too far.
Yeah. Yeah, the rain barrel program would be cool. That was a city program.
We're gonna do that this year again. Yeah.
It's interest, I'll just have to, again,
I don't know.
pull
when
it up
we're
the chain, see what budgets are. There's not a specific line item for this budget, so it's.
Do you remember how much it was?
That might be particularly popular this year because people are random.
Yeah, sure.
Totally. I also emailed the water minister. I'm trying to convince him to get water use data. So I can do some spatial analysis. And see which
Your price or?
areas which areas have high water use, which areas have.
I see resistance.
Well, it's like sensitive, right? Because it's building, it's like addresses. And I wouldn't give to students. But I think it'd be cool to do an analysis like that, because like my mind always goes to, oh, it's like more likely the higher income areas, yards and pools. But maybe lower income areas, do they have higher populations? They can't afford those prices. So just like to see how those compare. Because we do a lot of messaging on like your sleeping and outdoor, which I'm like.
Well, I think you would talk to Reed if you want. I go with you.
Okay, I'll see. I mean, it's like sensitive data, I get it.
Does the city have an ordinance about rainbows, like the amount of water?
Yeah,
There's
I'm
a
sure.
state.
There's
There's
a
a
state
state.
limit, yeah.
There's a state law that prohibited it. And then that was repealed about 2013. There is, I think, some limit, but it's a really huge amount of water that any homeowner is not likely to cap out. Unless, you know, you try and figure out a dam or reservoir.
Some people that-
Or, yeah, I mean, there may be some
What we call
people,
them
so
preppers.
I think if I remember right, laws designed to catch major problem people. But overall, if you're just doing 2 or 3 rain barrels in your backyard, as a supplemental thing, it's fair game, no restriction. So that's actually a win for a lot of people. It made no sense why I couldn't collect. So it's just going to the ground anyways. It's not going to the gutter, it's not going to the lakes, it's not, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try and capture it from your driveway, but you know, it's just.
We used to sing that song right down my ring there.
Yeah.
Door to door.
That's funny. I know that was it.
A little baby, come out and play with me. Right down the ring there.
Going back, just trying to tie up off of our conversation on the strategic water plan. My read on this is that it has a lot of data, and the implications really come at the end, and they are essentially a laundry list of recommendations. And I think they're pretty good recommendations. I don't feel like it is particularly strategic because they're not prioritized. There's not the timing or sequencing associated with them. And some of these things are out of our control. But would you be comfortable next time I talk to Reed sharing that we, in the next iteration of this, we'd like to see a bit more prioritization and a bit more sequencing and timing recommendations. You know, we like them a lot. And that perhaps the areas where we can be most useful here are in the education side. And part of that education for me is making people aware of all of the things that they can do in their homes. So low flow toilets, right? Watering at night. It's just all of those things we know are best practices. Make sure that we just continue to hammer them and build, like you said, build on existing messaging we can recycle. And make that part of our strategy this year. And then as soon as the metering comes out, I would really like us to take a significant initiative to educate on that. Because, and that's something we can measure, I think, in terms of uptake, in terms of download. And we can measure whether or not that's happening.
I should mention that budgeting starts in March as far as major budgeting for our July 1 budget. So if there is something that you think is a high priority that does have a dollar tag associated with it, it would be a good time to have the planning and public works get that in the budget. That's an ask. I'm probably working on that. as we get through. But generally speaking, if it's a reasonable ask, the department heads think it's, I'm not gonna block it, 10,000, $115 million budget, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where that it makes sense, and maybe it's just finishing the AMIs. But if there's something else that has a dollar, it wouldn't be bad to get that prioritized and have Reed or Chris put it on sort of budget to get that approved.
The one thing that is just coming to mind right now, building on Darren's point earlier, is that if we had a green team that had a budget. So it's one thing to say you're have to come up with what you need to do, and we need to write a report on what we talked about. But having a team that actually has some way of spending something on their mission, that is could fly.
We would need to tie it to some type of goal priority list.
Probably
And-
need to be on the neighborhood.
And so I see if the goal is to establish a budget, that the green team establishes priorities. Some or requests in the budget process and appropriation for those needs.
And then the green team is responsible for it,
Well, no,
or at
the
least
depends.
for measuring them.
So I mean, I see two categories. One, you're going to have there are already established departments that are responsible for X, Y, Z. For instance, public works and water. Right? They're already prioritizing water conservation issues, whatever they're responsible for citywide implementation. So the green team typically, the ones that the few that I've worked with are more internal. Like, what can we do to improve internal operations, potentially within departments or citywide, not necessarily external programs or implementation. So, but even then, we have representatives, say, from our facility maintenance. They already have their own plans and needs, and so again, I think it's really difficult to say. I think the way I envision this is, yeah, let's get a document or some sort of resource saying, here's all our environmental plans. These are the ones that the departments will be taking a lead on because it's their responsibility and not some independent employees, which would just not work out from an administrative perspective. However, they might identify the gaps that departments are not focused on, make recommendations that either those departments take those issues on, or that they are low-hanging fruit enough that maybe the committee can, do some promotion of those issues. But I mean, if you're envisioning this committee saying, hey, we need to implement, I'll pick on something that we're already doing. Water meters, right? That would not be the appropriate role that could be. That's a public works function responsibility. If it's, well, we could do a better job in office place recycling. If we have a small budget to implement citywide recycling efforts and signage and signs in the bathroom stalls encourage you to do X, Y, Z, or that seems more like the appropriate role of a green team. And that's how I've seen it done in purpose. So I don't know if that fits
Do
your
they have a
vision.
budget? Do they have a budget?
No.
I guess it's an open question as to whether they would have things they would do the budget for.
Well, again, that's hard to say until they've sat down and said, hey, let's do a brain dump of things that we think are missing, things that departments aren't taking care of. And, again, that once they identify those missing elements, there's really two paths. One, hey, we make a recommendation that the department takes that on. It's a big hole in our responsibilities. Or it's, hey, this is a small thing, it's sort of citywide that we could take on as sort of team leaders in each department to encourage and promote turning off the lights or, recycling. But departments are gonna have their own responsibilities and they're not gonna take, frankly, kindly to a committee dictating to them or taking over responsibilities that they ultimately have responsibility for. So again, I think the committee could be compiling an annual report of citywide activities that we share with the public. But as far as activities and budgeting, they might be some recommendations, but other than that, it should be,
Just advisory.
yeah, it's more advisory or taking on small projects that, help the internal staff do a better job saving on citizens. Unless you see it differently, that's how I see the green team.
I think that's a good start.
I think that makes sense. I mean, just having someone there who feels a little bit responsible for promoting it, I mean, that can make a difference too. It's not to say advisory, yes, but I mean, advice can, if somebody, having somebody maybe articulate, right? Somebody who feels responsible for saying in a meeting, oh, what about this? I mean, maybe people do that anyway, who have this, a green orientation.
I don't know. I think there's some value in having
Yeah,
some legitimized
right.
back into your passion. But again, I don't think this is going to be a volunteer thing. This isn't, your most passionate green employees volunteering to be on committees. This will end up being an assignment from our department director to one of the subordinates servants, whether they're passionate about it or not.
What about, I mean, we talk about community awards. What about a staff award for people promoting a new idea or a new cost saving program that is also green oriented?
Yeah, and to be a little frank, I think there's some hesitancy that this green team maintains some independence and from the NRC. That's not a subcommittee taking orders or directions from the NRC.
Right.
And so it's really fun to get into the weeds on, hey, they should be doing this type of program, that type of program. I think the city would be committed to, as they've expressed in the past, now we have a little different leadership situation, forming some type of internal committee and maybe giving a report to NRC of what they've done this year, and maybe take some suggestions, but overall independent and working.
You think an internal green team would be willing to have an NRC liaison?
That would be above my pay grade. I think the concerns are that the staff is working independent of the volunteer commission.
Could there be a once a year
Yeah, I think there could be
collaborative meeting?
absolutely. Yeah, I don't think it's an issue, but again, there's going to have to be clear boundaries about roles, responsibilities, who's really in charge. Because at the end of the day, all the staff are responsible to department heads and ultimately city manager, not the NRC.
Okay, thank you for that.
I'm very happy to never be in charge of anything, so I think that's my style.
Those days are over there.
So I'd be the back. But yeah, I mean, there's been support to go down that road. Doesn't have to be.
Makes sense. That all makes sense what you say. I hear you. I think that we very much right.
We're coming up on 6, and I'm going to propose that we transition to each discussion. The way I'd like to proceed, and hopefully feedback on this, is for us to start by reflecting on the things that we think we're doing well, or the areas where the NRC is having positive impact, in your opinion. Then moving to a reflection around what each of our individual hopes and priorities would be for the next year. I'd like to actually do those thought exercises independently before we open it up for discussion, so that we give each other a little time to actually reflect independently and we don't automatically get into group thing on. And then I'd like to see if there are any modifications we want to make to roles and responsibilities for this coming year. And then save the last 15 minutes for calendar. Sketch out a calendar. Are there any other proposals for things you'd like to put on the agenda? Okay, let's take 5. So at 6:05, let's open up our discussion. And between now and then, I'm going to invite you to make your top 5 list of the things that we actually do.
So the first question was, what would be pretty good? The second one was.
Yeah, we're going to do it in sequence.
Okay.
So let's first reflect. Just the 4 minutes of brainstorm independently on the things that we do that we want to make sure that we. And then I'm wondering, Michaela, if you would be willing to take notes on the screen for us, and then we can just see where the overlaps are. The purpose there is for us to see how much consensus we have on the things that we like that we do.
I'm not probably taking some of this from.
Okay. Would you also be able to share it there?
I'll just move.
Yeah. Just,
Just looking up for work on.
for some reason not focusing.
Yeah, I hate it on the sidewalk.
Does anyone need more time to think about things? Would you take notes for us? Okay, Hillary, would you start us off? Give us your top 5.
All of them?
Yeah, just hit us up. We're just collecting.
Okay. I thought we did well last year. The rain barrels. The water tank park. Working with the designers over there. I think we do a pretty good job of building community. Like our boards and with the orchards. I think we're doing pretty okay on education social media till I dropped off the face of the earth. I think we inform each other. But important issues, which I think is good work.
Maybe?
Similar ones. I think we've done a good job messaging to the city social media. I think some of those are great. The events like the swap meet, things like that. But I thought we made it a little bit on Utah Lake. So Hillary, I thought that was very good and timely. Access at the Heritage Park. And I loved our field trips. I thought they were amazing. And I really liked our scenic building, especially on the landscaping portion of that. We just thought that was. I promote more field trips. And I think just continue what we and like I said, and I thought the little jobs was great too. So that was fun just reading those.
Oh,
Yeah, I've went a little more, I guess, big ideas. I didn't write down any specifics, but there's good examples of a lot of those things up there. So the first one I wrote is we learn what is going on. So we're good at like the field trips or inviting people to our meetings, or we learn from the experts or the people who work with the city of these different aspects and kind of get the background and why things are the way they are, things like that. Second one is I think we're good at building connections. And I think that's part of learning what's going on is we find out who knows these things and then we talk to them or invite them to our meetings or meet with them. Right to them. The third one is I say we educate. And I think that we largely do that through our messaging, which I think we've done well on. And then my last one was advise. I feel like we've written different advisory sort of resolutions. I don't know if we can call them resolutions, but whatever it is we pass, to give to the council to give them our ideas of what we think should happen. I think we've done that well on important issues like utility.
I think they've all been covered very nicely.
give us your top 5.
Well, I guess I didn't write down a formal top 5, so I will do my. I would say my first is communication, that we both learn information and give feedback to people, and I think it's important not just to learn but to give feedback, and I think we do that, and I think we do it appropriately. I think that, so communication, I think I would put Utah Lake up there at the top of our list of things that we have done where we became informed and we shared our views with the city in the ways that Paul was describing. I think the awards that we do are really important, and I think that we could expand that. I think that that's one of the few things that we can actually do that could bring some attention, get some impact, and has. I think that some of our ideas, right? Not all of our ideas go everywhere, but go anywhere. But we come up with lots of different ideas, and some of them eventually work out in one way or another. And I think I don't know, I see a lot of individual initiative on this committee. I think I see a lot of people going out there and just doing things that are good, like Sarah doing her swaps and Hillary doing her class projects, and I think there's a lot to be said for just our individual initiative that complements committee work.
I think you work on the orchards. It's
Mm-hmm.
very good.
Thank you. Yeah, that too. Yeah, and I played I tried to help out as well with the Utah Lake thing early on too. And I think the mayor was actually appreciative of our efforts there. I think that he said something like he thought that our committee was even a model committee or something he said. So because we worked as a team or he felt that we worked as a team with him. And I was in communication with him and other city council members at the time. So it's a good time.
And you know about the suit.
Yes.
So we may not be done.
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, this was very anticipated by the state. And a lot of
Developers
the
are
LRS,
suing the state.
the LRS suing the
Oh,
state.
the lake stuff.
The lake
Okay,
stuff.
I was still doing orchard stuff.
No,
Okay, you moved to the lake. Yeah, I saw that.
yeah. Yeah, the lakes, the LRS lawsuit against the state.
Thank you. Sarah?
Yeah, mine were similar to Paul's. I sort of had the opposite of, my first two were the just reverse. So yeah, the connections that we're trying to make with different departments in the city, educating ourselves, again, that's come up a lot. And with the kind of the city legitimacy behind this topic, then the Voice of Sustainability has a more formal presence in the larger community. I know that because of my work that I've done here, I've been able to connect with the Utah Valley Clean Air Task Force and build the Utah County Sustainability Coalition, connect with UVU, got a job at UVU. So it just kind of formalizes the significance of environmental sustainability on the municipal level. And hopefully we'll have an opportunity to incorporate how citizen committees in the county maybe use that at the Sustainability Summit that we're planning for April at UVU, hoping to get more and more cities in the county to see how citizens can extend their efforts. And then the last idea I had was just generally, I think that overall, we have a measured tone. We're professional and competent in what we do, but we also recognize that the need to identify the common ground and use measured language with, city staff and various different officials. The administrations are always going to be changing, and recognizing how to navigate those relationships. I think for the most part, I think we do a pretty good job.
It's good. It builds trust over time. Now, you have a list.
That was a deer in headlights moment.
That's okay.
I'm following up your last assignment, sorry, Gabe. I'm going to keep up.
Follow through.
We value what you think, so we consider you a full member of the committee.
Well, I will defer giving a list. I rather hear from you and take the collective direction.
My five are city advisory, social media education, liaison, regional and other activity-based groups, awards, and event support, which I think I've probably covered with some degree. So what I'm going to ask Michaela, and I know you might need to leave soon, and if we can hand this off to Matt if necessary, is while we do this next exercise, if you could consolidate that into buckets.
Yeah.
Like what are the big buckets where we have overlaps and kind of weight them in terms of the number of comments they got.
Yeah.
So that we have a synthesis of that conversation. And then the next question, I also like to give you 4 or 5 minutes just to think about this independently, is what do you think our top 5 priorities should be this year? And I'm going to assume, as we say that we're going to continue to do the things that we value. So in addition to the things that we kind of have developed as habits that we like, what are the 5 things that you think we could expand, promote, do better, something you'd like to promote? Sarah, are you ready?
I mean,
You want any more
sure.
time?
No, I can finish adding stuff up and then we'll swap.
Do you want to just take notes for us on this one?
Sure.
That would be great.
I put 3 down. But one I feel, well, a couple I feel I'm thinking about my own capacity, and so we put 3 down. One I would like, and I'm anticipating that I'm hoping to have greater capacity to assist in this, to help with social media again and learn how to do like videos and stuff like that, just kind of up the engagement potential of our social media. And I know that videos can do that. And that's something that I should be learning for my job too. I'm just really nervous to do it, but I know that could be another way to, yeah. Anyway, upping the social media game, I would like to help out with that. Obviously, the water data, if you can get that and featuring the local scapes, I think that can be a lot of fun. And then I've always liked the idea of like quarterly events, educational, like activities, stargazing, a hike, a bike ride. We had talked about a bike ride, zero waste picnic in the park. You know, just an opportunity.
A visit to start taking this garbage.
No.
It was impressive. when she
That's
first-
hilarious.
You were great.
Wow.
But I
Where
just,
she lives now.
yeah.
That needs better messaging, Quinn. I'm sorry.
But you know, I mean, through the pandemic, we realized how much energy we get when we come together, you know, and have opportunities to learn from a specialist and then hang out and talk and do and experience life together. So that's something that.
Awesome. All right, and you're taking notes on this from Matt. There. You wanna jump on?
I realized as I came up with my ideas that they all fit in the category of what I would call inspiration. So I am less social than Sarah, and I don't yearn for events. So if they involved me getting in the outdoors, and then that's always been
There'll be
something
something
I've
for
been
everybody.
interested in.
Strapping on some snowshoes.
Yeah, strapping on some snowshoes. But you know, we talked a couple of months ago. One of my favorite ideas that we haven't really followed up on or discussed much, but it like featuring little green spaces around the city. I loved that idea, right? Unexpected green spaces. So that's one of my inspiration things. More awards. I love the idea of working with the Beautification Commission on this. I love the idea of featuring people who have done something. I get that in your research, Hillary, you can't share their addresses or names with us, so
I can ask them if they want.
we could ask them, right? We can ask them, right? So if there's somebody who seems pretty impressive, you could ask them. Or we can also just drive around ourselves. It's not that hard.
All of be like, would you like to be?
Yeah, that would be lovely, right? So awards featuring people and what they do, featuring unexpected green spaces, sharing information about what the city is doing, since that is a hang up for a lot of people, and the city is working on that. So 4 methods of inspiring people.
Right. Sure, people have done something, share green spaces, share info about the city.
And more awards, like beautification style awards.
Yeah, so I wrote my first one, and I think everything else is kind of sub to that. But so the first one I wrote is use the connections you've made to move to more actions. And so
Can you restate that, please?
yeah, so just using the connections we've already made to result in more actions for the year, more actionable items, I would say. So, so one example that I personally feel like I made some connections this last year, and then maybe that could lead to an action this next year is like active transport. So I made some actual contacts at the Orem Bicycle Coalition. They're interested in maybe doing like a, Orem City bicycle tour, a series of them or something like that, that they could invite the council or anyone else to join, things like that. I also had expanding our messaging. I feel like our messaging was effective, and that's an area where we could grow. And I had thought of the same one of the green spaces and the theming that we could do, like a regular sort of thing, either monthly, like we had talked about this last year, or just like once a month we highlight a green space, and we also highlight this or that, or tell stories. I remember when I first came on the committee, that was something that Quinn would talk about, is like, the stories of different people. And I think that builds on what Sarah was saying too, of videos and things like that when we interview someone. More event presence. So like this last year, I did a booth at the Earth Day thing, And I feel like we could do more things like that where we're out there, people see us, we can give out information that way. Maybe we want to be at the farmer's market a couple of weeks or something this year. And then just making sure that we build on what we did this last year and before with lots of follow-up and continuity is what I said. So for example, the new city building that we follow up with the designers that we, because we gave them feedback and want to see where that's going, or with the Heritage Park, or with water conservation plan, and that we kind of make this like a regular thing, so it's not like we just have someone from active, the transportation commission or whatever come once a year, and then we kind of forget about it, and then 2 years later we're like, I wonder what's going on with that. I feel like we could really do some follow-up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We really appreciate that. And then, is this down?
Yeah, so these are what I bucketed them into, if you want to break it out.
Okay.
Something like that. Sorry.
Okay.
That was
Thanks. Debbie?
So I wrote down bike paths of my first one. Now you know that I work for MAC now, so
What do you do for that?
I am over community and economic development. So basically CDBG grants and then economic development, revolving loan funds, all that kind of stuff. So basically anything related to low and moderate income projects, small business, Utah County, Wasatch County, and Summit County. I'm over people that do that. So it's kind of a nice advisory job, but I'll actually do it. So basically what I'm saying is now I'm a member of MAG, we can access the transportation people, we can get the people who plan the trails, parks. But aging, of course, is also a department. I don't know if you thought about how the seniors need to, they're always on fixed incomes. So just leveraging my MAG experience, and that's something that obviously through this year as a city council, but I'll be working for years. So use me. I also wrote trails. And then parks. Parks to me can also be educational, as well as we need to compost, we need to plant the right tree. I mean, to me, it's just having information that parks departments can actually implement. I wrote ordinance for local scapes, and what I'm thinking is 50% okay? Do we need to drop it? And then I just picked up on this like an earthly picnic. That'd be fun with no. Zero waste. Zero waste. Zero waste.
What
So
was that last one?
Earth Day picnic. And that was just dovetailed.
Although I will say Earth Day notoriously rainy.
Okay, but that's
Got
how
rained out.
May.
a fun picnic.
Yeah.
I love the idea of, and in my mind, I have these little kids that come to the library time. They read, and wouldn't it be fun if they had a little Earth book or something, and then they had a little picnic, and then I can just see the little kids loving that. The 0 to 5. Because I have a daughter that would do that. She would come read about a book.
Crazy idea on scheduling April events. You could just say, we'll do this on the first sunny days in April. And if it's rainy, we'll bump it to the next week. I don't know if that works, but
It's hard to find that.
I know that last year's Earth Day event, that kindness, it got bumped a week.
I'm saying maybe you could announce your backup plan for the start.
Yeah, true.
Well, you can always have a picnic.
If we get rained out, we plan on following up on this day.
Yeah.
Since it is hit or miss.
We can even advertise rain out days. Those are good ideas. Come from where you sit. All right, Hillary.
Okay. My facts. I'm very excited about the water meters and the possibility of helping. I might like to make sure we're reaching low income and underrepresented residents. I think I don't know how much we're really intentional about that.
We could use our Meals on Wheels to do that. We could put it, it's a paper flyer up.
Because that's a MAC program.
That would not be hard. If you would like to do something for the seniors, I know I can do that.
Some data analysis. Be cool,
Is
even
that-
if it's
Is
with.
that where I'm trying to get in?
Oh, yeah. I was like,
That's funny.
hey,
I had also some more like demonstration things, whether it's like a demonstration garden or a landscape, or just workshops with the library, like seed starting workshops or.
Sorry,
Bringing in-
you're gonna have to recap the last.
Oh, yeah, okay. We're
Data analysis
Okay.
for what?
Sorry.
just in general.
sorry, I should have done.
My next one is demonstration opportunities, like whether it's a demonstration garden or like seed starting workshop. Like come and bring some native plants into the library, some sort of like workshops, education.
That's a nice idea.
Um, I start seeds every March, so. And
I started
educating,
to, and the number would work out.
fine, I'll teach you.
No, it's not, it's just.
I also think we've done good on the water conservation, but I think it'd be interesting to do more broad city water infrastructure, like the storm drains are all clogged right now, like with so much precipitation. So like educating on what happens to the water in the drain, the more kind of bigger picture. So the water idea, but making it.
I know that Jordan River Commission has their like first Fridays where it's like adopt a storm drain because
Yeah.
whatever goes down storm drain gets into the lake and the river.
What's their commercial that used to be like, put in the storm drain? Some get splashed with some sort of junk at the end. Do you remember those commercials? Oh, it was sort of the state and remember whatever you put down the drain.
All the downstream.
Yeah, we all did that, yeah. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting, and it relates to the like, fertilize, like over fertilizing. The farm, whatever, just all those right to.
Matt, my list is get a green team started.
All right.
Water meter promotion is also on my list. Quarterly events is also on my list. Award expansion is also on my list. And one thing I think that might be new to the list is I just think that we could do some cool cross-city collaboration. I don't see why we shouldn't have other cities in RSC
Yeah.
chairs coming and talking
Yeah.
to us.
Oh,
Yeah.
UVU Sustainability Summit.
Yeah, also, I have been jealous of Provo's like tree planting initiative, that how many trees are they planting? I don't know, like 1 million in 3 years or something like that. And so that has me feeling competitively jealous about that program, and I'm like, anyway.
if you have nothing planned.
They have a couple things on that are different. One is their utility company.
Right.
Pro Power pays for a lot of the tree stuff for the conservation effort.
Okay.
So I'm not, I think that's the driver of that program.
And
That- yeah,
also-
that-
But that's not to
Obviously,
say we
that's a
couldn't
driver.
work on it, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's some different dynamics.
I know my Rotary Club just planted 6 new trees down at Wilson's Grove. They were like $400 a tree. It was nice.
Like, they were mature trees.
Big trees.
Yeah. And it was about $2,500 for those big.
Wow.
But what I'm saying is we could partner with Darren's, we could partner with her to do planting. We could provide the manpower and make some of the budget.
Well, that's like.
Rather than do a million.
Initiatives too.
And just so you know, in the city building, we've really looked at trees. I want you to know that.
Oh, everyone's gonna say.
They're gonna
Yeah.
forget, but we've had our arborists look at it. We've looked at the winter life cycle. We've preserved the ones we know we can. Just so you know, that was very high on our priority list.
I'm glad.
It really
And we're
was.
making benches out of the others.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Well, I hope so. I mean, that was our
That was our.
hope.
You have to cut down.
Yeah, but the goal, and not, this is what we told them, lose as few healthy trees as we can.
So in the interest of time,
There.
Matt, what I'm wondering is if you could take Michaela's notes and my notes, sorry, in your notes, and ship them to me, and I will consolidate them, shoot them around, feedback. So we have them available.
It's 2023, sorry.
Well, no. Well, yes, but yes and no, because you're also talking about your highlights,
That's true.
Oh, yes, the highlights.
but yes. You
Uh,
got me on that.
I'd like us to be able to circulate a synthesis of these. If happens to next a little bit. One thing I wanted to check in on tonight, though, is everybody has 2 assignments, right? You have a functional assignment and a sectoral assignment. And can we just go around and remind each other of what those are? And if you're, and let us know if you're happy and content, or if you want to mix it up. Mine are energy and awards. My personal papers. I'm calling on energy and awards. Paul,
Land use and events.
1 second, I'm gonna pull these. Which one did you say? Award? And land, what was the other one?
so sorry, this is different than our priorities.
Okay, I'm sorry, what topic is this now?
These are our stewardship
Oh,
assignments.
Do you want me to keep track of this?
Yeah, if you just write it down, it'd be great. I think most of us know, but I am energy and awards. Paul is land use and events.
You got this one.
Paul is land
Yeah,
use.
And events.
There you go.
And events, yeah.
alright.
Water or use of lake?
You wanted to be part, you wanted to be Utah Lake.
You achieved your goal. You're there.
I'm so proud.
Yeah, you made it.
You manifested it.
I sure did.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
thought in your vision board.
Waste and outreach.
The word waste, I think waste product abuse. Okay, water and
Orchards.
orchards.
How about ag preservation?
Yes. Thank you.
There we go. Fancy word.
So open discussion, if, are you happy with those assignments? Do you think we need new assignments? I think the things that we came up with will get done if one of 2 things happens. Either somebody really is passionate about it and will take it on themselves, or that we have a critical mass of people that all think it's really cool. If I think things that do not fit those categories will fall through the cracks. But so let's just try to map assignments to the things that you're most passionate about. I remember I used to teach at Millbury College in Vermont. We got a new president, and as his first act as the president, he looked at all of the lawns where people were trampling the grass, and he just put sidewalks there. So this is where people go anyway.
That's so smart.
Let's just put a sidewalk.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've suggested we do. In terms of our own assignments. Darren, start with you. What do you think? Are these assignments you want to keep this year or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I can share water if somebody wants it, I mean, we're all interested in water, so I don't wanna like claim it if others, but, you know, it is a passion of mine. I also, I do like, you know, I do like social media and messaging, and I've never done that as much, so I can help out with that. And that fits in my inspiration, right?
Yeah.
That was my theme to my what should we do more of was inspiration, and so that actually fits nicely there. It also fits with water because I think the biggest difference that individuals, I think it's our biggest problem, and I think it's something where individuals can make a difference. So is that kind of what you need?
Yeah,
Is that
and
responsible?
I actually think that if we have one person who's point on something, we can also have a winning person. Especially on the things that we know we all want.
Mhm.
So, like, do you still want to do social media?
Yeah, I like doing the social media. What is hard for me about it is sometimes like the content. Like I love designing the things and
Darren's great on.
We make a
content.
good team
Yeah,
because
right.
I like content and don't like design.
There you go.
if
We
you're just
are-
like, we
This is
should
the marriage
do
man
a thing.
Yeah.
in our room.
I will be your wing person. Is that
Pretty
okay?
best friends.
Is that acceptable? I would love that, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because, and I know I dropped off the face of that for like personal reasons, but I'm coming back. I'm
It
good.
happens to all of us and,
Yeah.
and there's,
Yeah.
And if Darren is water, can you be his wing person?
yeah.
Gonna say,
You're the
Together
one who
we
needs
are
my
a
wing.
biplane or something. I don't know what we are, but
Yeah.
we just
Or-
built a plane of some kind.
Yeah, if anyone has ideas, like, oh, I think we should feature this. Like, I love the designing part. It's like fun. I do it during my board meetings. Being happy with you. Because it's like fun.
Yeah.
But I struggle with the note, like, it's like I'm all telling my family, somebody wants to go cook it, but they creating the menu all the time. Let's see. I did that. See? So I'm happy to be working with Darren and Sarah too. We can collaborate on the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
You have the
don't
video
think
ideas.
videos, I don't think I'll
I'm
do that.
terrified to do it, but I know that I need to learn from my job. And so this is the year for me to learn those skills.
Do you know what channel or platform you want this video to go? Facebook?
I mean,
Instagram?
yeah, if we could,
No, we can have it.
if we could do to both, like through the Meta account to both
I
Facebook
don't know.
and
Now let's do it for Instagram.
Instagram.
Do it Instagram?
Yeah.
The only reason, I just started out as you get into it. If it's, I'd probably suggest a vertical format for your videos.
Right. I've heard that. That's kind of all I know about video. So I'm gonna learn a lot this year.
I mean, if you're solely on Facebook, you can go widescreen, or if you're going Facebook, YouTube, you can go widescreen, but if you're trying to use Instagram at all, which is probably more effective than Facebook right now.
well, it depends on your audience.
Yeah, it depends on your
Yeah.
audience, but
I
But
follow Facebook,
I'll
but I'm
plan
old
for
school.
Instagram and know that it will work on Facebook.
yeah, the nice thing, if you program for Instagram, I don't want to see what actually do TikTok, but like, you put out your own- you can start your own TikTok page.
It's, I haven't.
Of course, the state government is saying that
No, that's right.
Yeah, I don't think
They're giving
TikTok's.
us your TikTok.
Well, UDOT has a TikTok. It's freaking hilarious. Seriously.
Family
Really?
Yeah.
Somebody
I'm
TikTok.
not.
But you know, he does a lot of our filming, so
Yeah.
I'm sure if you need some tips or equipment, yeah, I'm sure you can have it.
Yeah, I mean, the idea would be to keep it pretty simple, something you can do on a phone. And I honestly, my 13-year-old was showing me how to splice together videos. So I will probably hire her as my mentor.
Yeah.
And,
Go watch Steven Spielberg's movie, Inspiration.
Yeah.
but low tech and easily accessible for just those kind of short informational or featuring individuals or whatever.
Hate to say, but I need to go.
Oh, yes.
Very productive. I think there's some great ideas here.
Any counsel you want to give us regarding words?
I think big, and if it's reasonable, I think we'll fund it. I don't know what reasonable means, but.
We always appreciate your enthusiasm.
Yeah,
We
well, I
feel
think,
like you're a great ally.
I think, it's not a hard sell to say we should conserve, we should, I mean, the council understands that. They understand that it's the timely topic, so this is not hard. Whether they do it or not, I know Tom was impressed with their lack of garbage when he first. She was telling us, I don't know what, it's like, it was just
It was a
ridiculous.
free show.
But it was very memorable, and we all remembered when we formed the committee that you had.
It's good for something.
There you go.
It was impressive, like months with only a small amount. I don't know how you did it. We all remembered it. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Without
Thanks,
great
Debbie.
people like you, we wouldn't be as good a city as we are. So, thanks. And I
So,
hope to stay on the committee, but I haven't seen that, so.
okay. Any adjustments that you might want to make to your assignments?
I'm good with where I am. I'll just add some social media support,
Okay.
but I'm not in charge of social media. I would just.
You're another. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm good where I'm at. I know that I'm bad at planning things and moving people and doing that kind of stuff. So this last year was another example of me having trouble putting together events and making them happen. But I would like to get better at it.
Wing.
I was gonna say, I am interested in events, so
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, outreach
Mhm.
events.
Yeah, I like planning and thinking about them and what we can do with them and everything. I have had ever since I was a small child, so you can like think about like child psychology here, but an intense fear of bothering people. And so it's really hard for me to reach out, really hard for me to call people, really hard for me to do that kind of thing. And so events make that difficult to some extent.
Well, I don't mind doing that.
You know,
So, yeah, I'd like to,
Yeah.
we can team up on that.
sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely want Sarah. I'm comfortable sticking with awards. I haven't done a ton on energy because it's such a big topic. I've been kind of trying to figure out what hook where to get in, right? Other than to think about energy conservation as potentially awardable, right? Some of our business awards were energy related awards. We could do some energy related media, right? I mean, it's just, there are still people that haven't released the right ones. So there are those things. I like to think about who are our big consumers. And is there a way to have conversations with those consumers? So one thing I might try to do is go back to this idea of who are our biggest energy users in the city. See how much they're actually either recognize good behavior or provide resources. That would be
Do you want to go as big as the church and UVU, or you think the next step down? Because those are the two biggest.
yeah, the two
We're
biggest.
looking at the Canyon Park thing.
We had talked about it. I think. And so I still need to figure out how to get it into just something like that. So I'm happy to try.
There might be some ideas and the goals that the WattSmart community.
And I think there are opportunities in the new legislation that was passed at the national level in terms of
Oh, yes.
of rebates.
Yes,
for all
that's
kinds of stuff,
true. I was
Yeah.
really excited about
Learning
that.
about some of those rebates would actually
Yeah.
be helpful.
and making sure that
Yeah,
people understand how to take advantage of it. might be like-
no, I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe I'll put that on my list. I have in my head, I think a healthy rhythm of trying to have about every other meeting a guest visitor who would speak for half an hour Does that sound about right? And given our priorities here, we could pull from a pool of people that it's the first priority. And I could also be the one that reaches out to people from other cities and see if we can get a few times this year environmental leaders in other city governments that can come and just share their ideas with us. Because for every amount of energy it takes for us to imagine a new idea, it takes less amount to borrow and steal new ideas. So with your permission, I will also take that one. Because of your connections.
I have, yeah, I was gonna say, I can help with that a little bit. I've got good connections in Provo and I don't know, I've done a lot of connecting over the last 3 years for some reason. It's not really my thing, but I've got some people.
Well, you also have been acting, I guess, in stewardship.
That, and I've just gone to some of these network events that different people put on, and I've sat and met people and chatted with them, got to know them, so.
Because I put together the agenda every month, I would love nominations of people that you want to hear from. And if you just want to, whenever that idea comes to you, you just shoot me an email and say, hey, I love it. I'll just try to bake them into our agendas. Also, you may have noticed that about a week or 10 days before a meeting, I send out a call for agenda items. Sarah's the only one that ever sends me an agenda. But I'd like to know if that would still be a useful thing to do.
Yes, that is very useful. Thank you for the reminder.
It also lets you know that it's coming up next week.
Yes, it is helpful.
If you don't have agenda items, that's fine, because I put together an agenda. The aspiration that I'm working with Matt and Michaela on is getting an agenda to them a week in advance, so that we get those appropriately.
There's legal on what we get, on what we shoot for as a courtesy to the public.
Yeah.
So legal actually only 24 hours notice, but it's a courtesy of the public. We try to get agendas minimum.
I know I'm always ticked off when I see a city council agenda 24 hours before that has a really big item on it. So we'll try to have good people.
That's the
We're a little less
not
important, but fair.
Okay, I'm tempted to put 2022 calendar on our next month's agenda. Is there anything though that is coming up in the next couple of months that we want to put in?
Well, some sort of urgent, right?
Yeah, were we gonna reach out to the kindness?
That was the idea, is to
That was
piggyback
how it was
again.
last year.
Yeah,
We haven't set a time to meet, but I have been talking with the library people and I have sent them a folder of all the past art contest stuff that I can find. So I'll meet with them, we'll figure out time for that. I don't know when the rain barrel.
I'd be in late April or early May.
Is that when they did it this year? Or, and I don't know how far in advance they need.
It's about this time last year they started chatting with us. But just look at it.
January.
It's January, February, where they started chatting with us and
The Utah Rivers Council actually sets it up and they contact this other group. I'll reach out to them and see if they're down with this year. Paul, I'd suggest some bike stuff that perhaps bike activities maybe planned for May. Provo's bicycle committee's they do quite a big shindig for May for bike month. At a minimum, I would plug in with them, get your, maybe a city bike ride plugged into their calendar, because they're very active on social media, and a lot of people are plugged in. Even if there's a pro focus, a lot of people do it with the community. I'm sure, I know the director, Kira, and she's gonna be great to work with. I'm sure there's an opportunity to crossover with that. And maybe even beyond that, if Warren Bicycle Coalition, maybe it's possible to say, hey, maybe low-hanging fruits is we just duplicate what they're doing, or we tag on to what they're doing, and we get a joint event. They do most, just let them do the heavy lifting and ride coattails. That'd be an opportunity.
But as far as like, if we've talked about doing a bike ride with the council,
Yeah, how far in advance? do you need
yeah,
to-
you need to
Well,
put that on the calendar.
Yeah, I'd probably get a tentative date no later than March 1st or 15th at the latest. So I would say the 1st, because, there'll need to be some decisions made. I think there's a hesitancy to do it as part of their council meeting. I would be hesitant if I was on the council, because some of them won't want to try and transition between a ride and go into a meeting. One, it makes for a long day. Two, maybe there's a clothing or showering issue, or they're going to be afraid they're going to be late to start the agenda. So I might plan for an alternative date for them
Yeah.
than a council day. Again, if you do it on a Saturday, maybe it's hard to get them out. But doing it before a council meeting, I'd probably stay clear of that.
And are you thinking, Paul, that we would make the public invitation as well?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Was the idea to get e-bikes for the council to borrow? That might make it,
Yeah,
More
that was something
enticing.
that the Bicycle Coalition put out there,
Okay.
that they could, like Mad Dog or somebody could provide those, make it easier for people, so it's not as much of a hurdle. The idea from the Bicycle Coalition side is they would really like to show areas of the city that are very bikeable and very nice, and a few places where maybe it would be nice for the city council to like see, well, this doesn't work quite right, maybe we should re-examine how we have the infrastructure here.
there's food.
Yeah, so I know that this was probably 3 years ago when I first came on. I don't know if it was Debbie or who brought it up at the time. It might have been Sam. There used to be like a pancake breakfast or
Yes.
something that the mayor would host,
Yeah.
and then from there they went on a bike ride.
They did that several years. And that was,
I don't- that was
was
when-
that
Was
UDOT?
it invited?
What?
Was the public involved?
I think so.
I think UDOT paid for that, maybe MAG, I don't know.
But
I think it might have been UDOT funding.
yeah.
But yeah, they did that for years.
But yeah, I don't know that we need to do anything
Well,
super organized like that, but like some sort of food at the beginning or the end or
I think
something.
there's some wisdom in inviting the public from a strategy perspective. If the public's coming, council members will be more motivated to come.
Yeah.
Two, it takes a lot of the spotlight off of them when you discuss problem areas and get group feedback on those issues, and then it's not so directed at them.
Yeah.
And so, maybe the question to the administration is, or to the mayor is, will you be willing to host this event? Like the mayor's breakfast, followed by bike ride, pancakes and wheels, I don't know. I don't know if he'll be interested in that, but it might be a place to start, so they feel some ownership. That also helps, I think, with the feedback that, they're listening, they're doing their due diligence.
So
Yeah,
do
some
all the
members-
background work to package it really succinctly.
I just
there was-
wanna-
And then,
Yeah,
and then say, hey.
maybe we're hosting this, but we invite our friends from MAC. Maybe lead us through a few areas, but You know, I know that, I'm gonna say this diplomatically, there's not necessarily the best feelings for some of the members of MAG. Maybe it's not a MAG-led discussion, maybe it's vice versa.
Or maybe it's the neighborhood.
Yeah, maybe it's the neighborhood
leaders.
program. You
Yeah.
get them involved somehow. Of course, you know, some might have very different viewpoints on bicycling. I know there's a handful of people that don't even want bike lanes. So, yeah, just again, I don't know what the right answer is. I'm just thinking strategically, how do you get the council to really be invested in listening? And there might be some programming that helps that. That's all I'm suggesting.
It would be interesting to look at the different neighborhood plans that I know that was a multi-year project.
Yeah.
And see how many of the neighborhood plans include active transportation as part. Yours
Yeah.
wasn't, yours didn't,
No, I've read all the neighborhood
Oh, you
plans.
and it, not very much.
It's
Even
not-
then, I
it's
doubt
not
any
Oh.
any
I think
plans
ours was.
created before 2 years ago is gonna have. Much resilience.
I mean, I really like the using the neighborhood plans as a basis. I just, depending on the neighborhood, there was discussions with.
But it might be able to, under the context of understanding our bicycle master plan or transportation, you know, we have a parks, trails, open space master plan. Perhaps the ride is focusing on, hey, the plan says X, Y, and Z. Let's go out and look at it. That way, and that was adopted. There's no real opposition to that plan. That plan's, I brought them some amendments a few months ago and they were embraced 7-0 vote. So yeah, that might be one way to program it is, hey, we have this master plan. Let's go out and actually look at some of the things the master plan talks about.
I love that. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And that way, it's
I love that.
it's not really threatening. It's
Right.
Yeah.
This is already your plan. Let's just see what this actually looks like.
yeah. Now I'd have to dive in and see, okay, what does that even look like? You know, but I do know that it mentions things like
This is really
16th North and the Murdoch Canal Trail crossing, which, you know, I think there's already plans underway for construction this year to fix some of that. But, you know, maybe again, it's an opportunity to talk about it and say, hey, we are making meaningful progress in implementing this plan. By the way, here's a few other things to look at on this trip that's related to the plan. You know, I'm looking at still pursuing grant money to connect Murdoch Canal Trail and Bonneville Shoreline Trail, as well as make improvements to the 8th North King Connector Trail, where we put in more signage and marked crossings at all intersections.
That's awesome.
So, again, we don't have a budget for this, it's contingent on. You know, this stuff sounds easy to do, it's just not.
Well, and wasn't
It
there-
sounds like, pay some paint,
Yeah.
and then it's just like,
Yeah.
get all the
If it were
actors
that
on
easy.
board, yeah. Now, the good news is with Dayton North, sorry, I'm on a tangent, I do need to go. But the good news with that one is UDOT's in favor of it. Anything we want to do with making it a little bit more safe and completing segments and all that, as long as they're not paying for it, and, you know, we quadruple the cost of signs to have breakaways and stuff. So, you know, so we don't have opposition from UDOT, that's good.
Sorry, well,
I do need to step out, I'm sorry, I got a report to pick up.
Data would also be interesting to see. We have like the like the scooters and the bikes. I do see them in my neighborhood. It would be interesting if we could see the data on where people in Warren are using those scooters and bikes, and to see like that's filling a gap fairly. And you know, so are there certain neighborhoods where those bikes and scooters are being used more, and meeting a need there? So that would be interesting to have.
That's great.
That's a good idea. If you'd like to put this on the agenda for next month, follow up, please do call.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up. A couple of quick reminders. We are meeting on February 21st. Next meeting, 5 p.m. Okay, so make sure that's in your calendar. Again, that's a Tuesday night, it's the third Tuesday of February. If you have a chance to open up your meeting minutes from last time, please do that. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I already did open them up and look at them for this meeting. I get gold star
Yes.
and motion approval.
I second that motion. All those in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? Those minutes are approved. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous in favor of adjournment. Thank you for sticking with us a little later in the evening. Thanks, everybody, for your time today.
Yeah, thank you, Quinn. There's always some cool ideas that come out of this.
Yeah,
Without a doubt.
there are some cool ideas. And like I said, I will commit to taking the notes that Michaela and Matt wrote up, putting them into discrete categories, and we'll just review those.
Thank you. The second. She made a motion.
Yeah, she votes in my side.
Can I ask about our meeting today?
Yes, you may.
I am sending you a Word document of all this.
Are we still recording?
I have to.
And I'll-
Did you turn off the recording?
Sound like
soon.
everybody's-
Yeah, I saw, yeah, I didn't read it.
I know, I think it wasn't clear.
I
People
had
were
to
like,
see
oh,
my
you're done.
cards,
Like,
so
no,
I-
that's what I heard.
It's fair. I always
Like
always
a
trust me.
transition semester.
Yes.
A reasonable exercise about ethics. Yes.
And I applied
Um,
last night for a full grant to go to.
It was.
Oh, you did?
Great.
I didn't tell you this.
In favor.
I applied for a full grant.